Joining us on the news is Mohammed Abdullahi, a public affairs analyst. Hello, Mohammed. Thank you for joining us at this time.
Good morning, Nigerians. Always my pleasure.
Good morning. So, Mohammed, do you by any chance have an update on the outcome of the meetings at the villa today, supposedly to stop the proposed EndBadGovernance protests?
Yes, it's all over the news. I think what the government, the federal government, have been trying to do with the various meetings, remember there was a meeting between the president with traditional rulers. In my opinion, what the government have been trying to do is to persuade the planned protesters, to shelve the idea. Which is commendable anyway. But again, I think we must also understand, or everyone, Nigerians should understand that it is also the fundamental right of Nigerians to assemble, to associate. This right is enshrined in our constitution. But what is most fundamental is that this association should be very peaceful. Because you had the Dean of Agbo mentioned in your news bulletin that peace is very paramount. It is very important that we maintain peace at all sides. Yes, people might want to protest, and they have right to do so, like I mentioned. But it's also the duty of government to ensure that these processions, whether it will happen or not, there should be peace and orderliness. And how do they do this? If the government, from what they are doing at the moment in terms of ensuring that the protests do not hold, is fine. But there must also be plan B by the government to say, what if this protest holds? I think that's another area that government should also be looking at, because yes, it's not also right, for instance, from the statement of the FCT minister, former Governor Wike, mentioning that Abuja is not available for protest. I don't think those statement is kind of right. Yes, we persuade these people not to, people want to protest, not to protest. But if eventually they do, such statement is like saying authoritatively that if they do, they may be attacked or they may be prevented and so on and so forth.
All right, what I think if eventually, since we're talking about eventuality, if eventually they still decide to go on the protest, do you think that, because we've seen meetings with traditional rulers that you've actually spoken about as well, do you think that the meetings with them would be effective in stopping the protest in any way?
It's difficult. From what I'm seeing through social media, it's very challenging. I've had people calling out to the traditional rulers that, in fact, they should stay out of this, that the people have made up their mind to go into the streets to protest. That's why I'm saying, in terms of eventuality, government should also be preparing for eventualities. And how do they do this? Is to make sure that these protests and processions are orderly, are peaceful. And in doing so, we have security apparatuses who should guide these protests to become to become peaceful. Because definitely, I understand the fear of government. For instance, we have less than perhaps 1.5 million security apparatuses, personnel all over the country, whether the Nigerian police, army, navy, whatsoever. I'm very sure it's less than 1.5 million or maximum 2 million. Compared to the total population of 200 million people, is very much underwhelming. So this is the fear of government. And then, if you have at least even 5-10 million Nigerians on the street, it's quite challenging. But again, government should do its utmost best to make sure that people do not infiltrate, bad elements do not infiltrate this so-called protest and turn it to become violent.
Okay, now, in addition to that, so many, stakeholders, so many leaders have actually come out, to plead on behalf of the government for these protesters to actually, halt or shelve the protest, saying that President Tinubu is already doing a lot, to help with the situation, especially when it comes to bad governance and the cost of living crisis in Nigeria. So, but in your opinion, do you believe that the president's administration or the administration is taking the necessary steps to address the underlying issues that the protesters are going out for in the first place?
The major reason, the major reason for the protest, in my own view, my own opinion, is the fact that some of the basics of human existence are lacking. For instance, number one, food is very challenging. We all know in this country what it means to get food. You know, even though government is trying. On the other hand, the issue of the passage of the minimum wage bill, even local government autonomy is a big one. And then, you know, recently the president also is putting into place the Southeast Development Commission, Northwest Development Commission. These are all geared towards bringing governance into perhaps the region easily. Even, I mean, the local government bringing governance to the people, closest to the people easily. But this will take time to materialize. You understand? So like I said, some of the easiest things like food is still very much challenging and so on and so forth. Transportation, movement from one place to another, and insecurity. Most importantly, you had the Emir of Zazzau mentioning that if insecurity is tackled, perhaps in the north, it will reduce to the barest minimum the cost of living. So these things that government is putting into place, they are fantastic, but they might take time to materialize. So what I think government should do immediately is to address the issue of insecurity and the issue of food security for Nigerians. If government is able to do this, I'm sure 4 days or 5 days is not enough anyway to do this. But if they are able to do this in the short term, the possible short term, it will go a long way in not perhaps probably preventing this planned protest, but perhaps future reoccurrence.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mohammed, for speaking to us on this.